The Nico Harrison vision is getting blurry. It's not 2020 vision right now. And I want to talk about that on today's Locked On Mavs.
This is Cooper Flagg, and you're listening to Locked On Mavs.
On 5.
Explain yourself.
All these changes, I still got my dog Dwight Powell.
You are Locked On Mavs, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like back.
You are locked on the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris, covering the Mavs for the last 10 years alongside my good friend Nick Angstead, and today's a one more thing. Let's talk about these Dallas Mavericks right now. More importantly, let's talk about this Nico Harrison vision. That is quite blurry right now. My vision, personally, is absolutely horrible. When I go to the doctor, I don't know if y'all knew this was a thing or not. If your vision is past a certain threshold of being so bad that you get like contacts or glasses for free, because yeah, it's kind of like a, hey, we feel so bad for you type of thing. And you might be deemed like medically blind or something. I don't know. So yeah, I got my glasses free the last time. Wear some pretty strong contacts. And I was thinking about that over the past 24 hours because I'm like, man, my vision is pretty bad in real life, but I think Nico Harrison's vision is worse when it comes to basketball. I want to talk about that vision today and where it's kind of going off course a little bit. And then, yeah, we have another game coming up on Sunday against the Toronto Raptors. Depending on when you listen to this, it could be later on today, Sunday afternoon, but I'm recording this on my birthday. So there's nothing more, just exciting or like just a birthday present than to record a pod about Nico's vision, which is fun. Fortune favors the bold. Thought about getting that on my cake today for the birthday, but just decided not to. Wife decided not to. Went a different direction with that. But it took 1.5 games for Fire Nico chance to come back in the AAC. A game and a half. I mean, I say game and 3/4, maybe, if you just want to say 2 games. It took 2 games into the season for the Fire Nico chance to come back. The last time I talked about the Fire Nico chance was with Nico Harrison on Media Day. I know I alluded to this to a podcast that we did right after Media Day. It was an off-the-record conversation that Nico and I had, but it was a doozy. It was a good one. And I said on the pod last time, it was about, for the most part, my question to him back after the trade, in which a lot of you guys probably remember that, of when I asked the question in the press conference. I was like, hey, I was in the arena. There were 20,000 people chanting for you to be fired. Why shouldn't you be fired? It kind of created a life of its own and, took off with some, media and different players and stuff that didn't like that I asked that question, but I still stand by that question. And I stood by that question to Nico's face at Media Day this past year because, shocking, what I would share from that conversation is he was not a fan of the question. And voiced that pretty good with me. And I voiced it back of like, yeah, this is why. This is why I asked that question. Why are the 20,000 people wrong about you being fired? And he explained different things. I explained where I was coming from with that. And we shared some other things with each other. And we've since seen each other since then and whatever. But it's like, I go back to that. I go back to the chanting, and I was reminded of that conversation whenever the Fire Nico chants were raining down after the Washington game. And I was like, man, we're right back where we used to be, because I was like, man, this was one of the fears, right? Like if the Mavericks don't win, if they don't come out and are playing really well, then this is kind of like the track it's going to go down. And you're like, Isaac, is it 2 games? And this is what I've tried to tell myself, or I've tried to think about over the past 24 hours. I was just texting with Bobby a little bit ago. I'm like, it's weird that you feel this way after 2 games. because I feel like I'm always in the camp of like, hey, don't overreact. We got to have a week. We got to have weeks. We got to have a month before you form big opinions, and don't overreact. It's just 2 games. It's not an overreaction whenever it's something you've been talking about and the fears about it for months. Since the trade, since the draft, and some of the stuff they were saying after the draft and how they're going to use Cooper. It's all the fears, it's all the worries that were happening that we were talking about ahead of time are playing out now, except I think it's a little bit worse. Like, what causes it not to be an overreaction? Well, I think one is when it comes to the vision, right? And I joke and refer to the vision because that's when, it was the post Cooper winning the lottery and all of that. And that's when Nico said the line of hopefully, fans can start seeing the vision. It's like, man, like, Nico, you didn't have anything to do with getting Cooper Flagg. So I'm glad we can all see that vision. But what is the vision? It's like, I guess the vision is the no point guard. I guess vision is or trying to fit Cooper into this point guard mold. I guess the vision is defense wins championships, and we're going to go out there and just overwhelm people with size. When coincidence, the guy on the floor that was the biggest guy on the floor, and Wemby just absolutely dominated you in game 1. But I get Wemby's an alien. He's a monster. So why is it not an overreaction to be like, hey, this vision is not 2020 right now. This vision is pretty blurry. And you're pretty worried, and the alarms are sounding. Whatever you want to analogy you want to use for worried or the panic meter, however you want to say it, I think it's ringing right now after 2 games. Because number one, when you go back to the vision and everything, and when you're going to go off course and change the course of your franchise completely and make a trade like a Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis type of trade, then AD has to come out and show that he is worth a trade like that, which he's not going to be on the level of Luka. You get that. We get that. Mavs fans get that. But you're like, the best version of that is AD, two-way guy, one of the best offensive and defensive players together combined in the league when he's right, when he's healthy. Well, guess what? He's playing right now. Guess what? He is, for the most part that we know, healthy. Yes, we had the eye thing, but he's wearing he's wearing the Home Depot glasses. He's got those. But for the most part, body-wise and everything, he is healthy. And he's playing, and he doesn't look great. Like, to begin the season, this is when you needed peak AD. I get the counting numbers. I get what he had, against Washington, and you could throw that at me, and I get it. Unless you watched that game, and you've seen how those points came to be, and you've seen the score, you've seen where AD doesn't look like the AD you thought. Like, I was texting somebody in the middle of the game. I'm like, dude, what is this defense? What is he doing on defense? It's like, not only was he just like kind of looks slower and out of shape out there, but it's like the effort wasn't there at times. AD does not look like a typical AD from, of like what you would wrap your mind around of, all right, well, if he's healthy, you kind of, what you're getting. No, you don't know what you're getting. And that's one of the tough parts of like, hey, why is the vision blurry? Why is the vision not 2020 right now? Well, the main guy that you centered this trade around of trading Luka Doncic isn't looking like anywhere close to the type of player that you thought you were trading him for. Is he out of shape? I don't know. It doesn't look like he's in the best of shape. Is he healthy? He looks like he's healthy outside the glasses. That part is the number one thing about why the vision isn't looking good right now. I think the step 2 in that is the biggest thing out of all of this is you have no sense of offensive identity right now. Like, what is the identity of the offense? Is this just like it feels like at times over the past, few years, especially this year, the same calendar year, that they traded Luka Doncic, that it is it's a Nico Harrison puff my chest out, let me prove this type of I'm gonna zag when people are doing this or whatever. And it's like, all right, cool. If this is your zagging, that you want to puff the chest out and be like, I don't even have to have a point guard because defense wins championships. Size. AD. We're not even going to have a point guard on the floor. Well, you know what you're not doing? You're not generating shots and you're not playing good offense. There's no offensive identity to this team. And I want to talk about the offensive rating in just a sec, but we got to take a quick break. I'm getting warmed up right now. Let's take a break. This podcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Robinhood. Your ambition just met its match. With Robinhood, you play for the win, not just on game day, every day, locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, crypto, all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools. Or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more than yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. This podcast is also brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. DoorDash. Are you ready to order some food on a Sunday? If you listen to this on a Sunday, NFL, Sunday afternoon, DoorDash is where it's at. But we're not talking about NFL, we're talking about NBA. The season's heating up for some teams, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, SGA had 50 points the other night, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day. So if you have Dash Pass, you get 50% off the next day. Pretty solid deal. And you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. We're talking player inspired drip, exclusive gear and stuff you'll actually want. Next time someone goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off the DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus your shot at the bag drop. DoorDash members only, 50% up to $10 a day after the 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Whew. This podcast is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time. Hang with me here. Our friends at Game Time, guys, we know that live games are so much better. The Mavs play the Raptors on Monday. They got 2 more games in this homestand to finish this kind of home stretch to start the season. Hopefully they get some dubs. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. Let's be real. Getting tickets can be a total headache. Yes, it is. Between waiting in queue, surprise fees. Oh, the fees piss me off. And prizes that jump right up before checkout. It's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in. The app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life app for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, and go. Whew, let's go.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Oh man, I got there you go. Get some music going. Sorry. I had to take a drink. Hopefully Nick's not watching on this Sunday. I'm kind of light with it when it comes to being as structured here, but let's keep talking about this. So Nico Harrison defense wins championships. This is part of the vision that's looking a little blurry. Not 2020 right now. I don't know what line you could read at the eye doctor there when you're going down and it has the letters. It always has E at the top. After that, I think it's getting pretty blurry right now if you have the Nico Harrison basketball vision. So he stands by the defense thing. Defense wins championships. I talked about it the other day. I'm like, hey, if you're taking the under on the Mavs, but if you think they're going to be a top 8 defensive team in the league this year, then the formula is not the same as it was last year, because if you were top 8 in the league last year in defensive rating at the end of the regular season, and you're in the Western Conference, you were in the top 6 in the conference. If you heard me right, if you're in the top 8, if you're a top 8 defensive team last year in the Western Conference, you were in the top 6 of the Western Conference. And you had at least 48 wins or more. Dallas's over-under this year is 41.5, according to FanDuel. So you're like, Isaac, all right, that tells you that they're going to win a lot of games if they're going to be a top 8 team, which their goal is top 3. We were saying top 5. I'm saying if they're just top 8 and it goes by the same type of formula as last year, then they're probably going to go over. They're probably going to be a good team. The counter to that is you got to be a good offensive team. More than anything, offense wins championships. So yes, you can sit there and go down and look at title teams and be like, man, they could play good defense here. They had this defensively. Okay, I hear you. What's the counter to some of that? Let's look at, I don't know, let's go back through the years and look at some good offenses. Last year, OKC, one of the best defensive teams in the league? Yes, cha-ching. Next, guess where they were on offense? They were 3rd in the league on offense. Not just they were good defense, they were 3rd in the league on offense. You're like, all right, Boston Celtics, man, they were really good on defense. So good on defense 2 years ago. Like, all right, well, where were they on offense? They're 1st in the league. The best offensive team in the league. Go the year before that. That's when Jokic and the Nuggets won their first title with Jokic and all the stuff. Guess where they were on offense? They were 5th in the league on offense. So you're saying, all right, the past 3 champions were 3rd in the league, 1st in the league, and 5th in the league on offense. You got to be a good team to win an NBA title. You got to be a good team on offense. All right, you want to keep going? I do. Let's keep going. Warriors. 4 years ago. Now here's the outlier, right? Warriors were 16th in the league and on offense. Nico's like, this is part of my vision. Look at that Warriors team. They're 16th in the league in offense. And they won the title. Guess what? They're 2nd in the league on defense. You got to be dang good on defense. Now, could they be? Could that be the formula Dallas is going with? Top 3 was their goal on defense. They're like, maybe if we just get to that middle range, we could be like that Warriors team. Well, you know what that Warriors team had that the Dallas Mavericks do not have? A star point guard in Steph Curry who can create their shot and create shots for others. Along with Draymond Green, a Klay Thompson was on the team then, and some other guys who had won NBA titles, plural, before. Little bit of an outlier. Can we keep going? The Bucks won it after that. They were 5th in the league on offense. The Lakers 2020, I get it. Here we go. The Lakers 2020 title, if you count it, Alex Caruso doesn't. The Lakers were 11th in the league on offense, 3rd on defense. Maybe that's the formula they're going for. Is that the outlier? Maybe they're 11th on offense, though. You're like, oh, Isaac, man, I kind of just wonder what the next 3 years after that were. I got you. Raptors after that, 5th in the league in offense. Warriors after that, 3rd in the league in offense. Warriors after that, because they went back to back, 1st in the league on offense. You have to be a good offensive team to win an NBA title in this league. It's not defense wins championships. It's offense wins championships. And you had arguably the best offensive player in the entire NBA in Luka Doncic. And you just waved bye to him. You went and got a latte at Ascension and let Rob Pelinka just kind of just like backdoor you and just talk you into this thing and convince you, hey, if this gets out, man, I don't know if we can do it. I don't know if Luka's going to sign the extension with us if this gets out. So if we can just keep this under wraps. The vision is getting a little blurry and it's not 2020 because you're going after the wrong thing in roster building. Let's keep going on that. You're the offense right now, it's not generating shots. It's not generating good shot quality. You've seen some of the stats that people have tweeted out. Nick sent me the tweet from Tim Cato the other night that we talked about it. And then I saw Tim's tweet after that about the worst shot quality that the Mavericks had in the past 7 years. I can't imagine. Once again, I haven't looked at it from the Wizards game. I can't imagine it was much better against the Wizards. It's more than when you're watching the offense, it's more than, hey, they're just not making shots. It would be a whole different ballgame if they're running this offense and they're generating shots for others and the shots just aren't going down. And then you're using the excuse of, hey, the shots just aren't going down. They'll go down eventually. We'll bet that they're going to go down eventually. It's not even that. Like, you can't even generate shots. It's not even like generating shots. So you can't even use that excuse. And on top of that, you get this generational star player in a Cooper Flagg, and we're misusing him. Like, we're not even putting him in the right position. I don't want to hear any of the crap of like, hey, we want him to feel uncomfortable and all this stuff. No. Why? I don't think this is helping his development, and it dang sure ain't helping the wins. So that's the part. It's like, why are we misusing him? We got Max Christie saying he's playing. This isn't the position that he's used to playing. And then on top of all of this, you got, I think I took them as subtle little comments from your head coach and Jason Kidd and Anthony Davis. You got Jason Kidd saying, hey, we're shorthanded at point guard. Technically, about the roster, you're really not. I mean, I get it, like Kyrie and Exum. So if you want to say, hey, they're out, then we're shorthanded. But you went out and signed D'Angelo Russell, who just didn't even play in the second half. You watched your offense just like, I don't know, step through mud for an hour, and you're like, I'm not even going to try D'Lo again. You have Brandon Williams and you have Ryan Nembhard. You at least have 3 active guys that run the point guard spot. But hey, you're still shorthanded. Technically, that's true because Exum and Kyrie are out. But you had 3 on the roster that could play it. Is that Jason Kidd taking a little subtle shot of like, hey, we're shorthanded at point guard because we didn't go get one? And then you have Anthony Davis, who at his locker after the game says, hey, if myself, direct quote from AD, if myself, PJ, and Coop are going to be the primary ball handlers, then we have to do a better job at protecting the ball. He's literally saying, he's like, hey, if it's us 3 that we're going to be the primary ball handlers, then yeah. And he's talking about the defense, how they're pressuring him and they're up on them and they're swiping for the ball and stuff because they're the 3 primary ball handlers. I read a little bit into that. And it's just like, so why isn't the vision working? Well, go down the line. The star you traded for Lucas, not looking like any bit of a star. You have no sense of offensive identity, having some of the worst shot quality that you've had in literally years. And it's not just that you're creating shots, you're not making shots. You can't even create open shots. You're misusing your star number 1 pick, and your coach is saying, and your coach and AD, the star you traded Luka for, are saying kind of subtle things about you not having a point guard. And on top of that, you have one of the best point guards of all time in Jason Kidd coaching your team that you just gave an extension to, and you don't even have him a point guard to run an offense with. Solid vision. Solid vision. We'll see if they can turn around against the Toronto Raptors. I love a lot of the guys on the team. I love Cooper Flagg. I love the PJ, Lively, Flagg trio. I think there's a lot of promising players and people on this roster. A lot of fun personalities. But the vision and roster construction of what this is built on, everything that we worried about and have talked about for months is happening, but even happening at a worse level than what I thought. Had my concerns, didn't like, very open. I'm like, Cooper Flagg should not be the starting point guard. They should not start him at point guard for him and for the team. Unfortunately, after just 2 games, I get it. That looks the part. It's like, man, I think this team's going to be really good defensively, which they really haven't after 2 games. And that's a concerning thing too about, hey, if your vision's going to bank solely on you being a really good defense, you got to be a really good defense, and you haven't been a really good defense. You had 37 turnovers after 2 games. It's pretty tough. So we'll see. What's the hope right now that the Mavs fans have in this roster and in the offense? Do they switch it up? Do they finally admit a little thing and switch up and put, D'Lo in the starting lineup? Do they start Ryan Nembhard and say, all right, here we go? I mean, it took game 2 for Jason Kidd to look down the bench and say, Jaden Hardy, is it your time? I tweeted this out, but I don't even blame Klay for some of his shooting because heck, Klay was brought in to play alongside Luka Doncic. That was the roster you were building. And now you're saying, hey, Klay, you're not going to play around a playmaker or a creator. You're just going to kind of be on the wing. And whenever we can just get you the ball, can you just just get a shot, whatever you can. Klay wasn't brought in to play with this type of roster. So what do? Do they try to switch it up, giving Nembhard a chance, D'Lo a chance, or do they just keep on grinding away and just pushing, striving ahead and saying, hey, Cooper, you're going to be great long term. We're just going to force you to be you and PJ to bring the ball to the floor and all of that. AD, whenever you can see a long 2, you take it, all right? This is going to be our offense in 2025. Because that's the vision of Nico Harrison.